I had only about 6 months' time between my initial referral and the actual surgery. Very quickly, I was given what I wanted, but it was far from what I needed. 2 years later, I am still suffering from major complications. This is what happens when children are sexualized and exposed to developmentally inappropriate and confusing content and ideas from a young age. This is what happens when we treat children like adults and expect them to have the mental faculties for proper long-term decision-making. You are placing children in direct harm. Children deserve better.
Well, you just heard the voice of a very brave young adult who was actually one of 3 who called into a California school board meeting this past week. Chloe Cole, Abel Garcia, and Kat Cattison all shared their personal experiencing transitioning to a different gender and then the struggle of detransitioning back. And they shared very real concerns with the district's so-called gender-affirming care policies for young students. Joining us now is one of those young adults, Abel Garcia. He transitioned from a male to a female and has since detransitioned back to a male. Abel, it's so good to have you here this evening. You were speaking to that school board, and you also recently wrote a very powerful op-ed, which is called Detransitioner Perspective. Transition was easy, detransition was not. And on your road to transition, you describe in the op-ed how you went down a, quote, path of self-destruction. What I found very noteworthy, you write about the therapist who you saw, and in the very first session, they encouraged you to transition. In that first session, were you surprised how quickly this was introduced to you?
Yeah, so when I got approved quickly back then, I was a bit caught off guard. And I had asked why I was approved so quickly. And to be honest, her response also shocked me because she said she did not want to gatekeep me.
You know, it's interesting because you also write about how you were initially happy when you started this transition period, but it took around 3 months, I believe, after your first surgery that you realized that you'd made a mistake. But when you talk to your therapist about the options to go back, how did they respond to that?
My therapist, she said that I just recovered from surgery and it was my childhood traumas that were resurfacing, and I didn't have to do anything with wanting to detransition.
So you got pushback from her on detransitioning?
Yes, that is correct.
And then how difficult was it? Because in the op-ed you talk about how you had to have multiple different levels of approval from doctors to detransition. Was there concern about your health, or was the concern about that you were making a wrong decision to detransition?
I don't really know. Just because my second therapist, who I got not long after, he said that I shouldn't be too cavalier with my gender identity because I don't know the harm that could be done to my body. But this was also in Southern California. He was a gay man himself, so I personally feel he might have had somewhat of an agenda to try to keep me on that path.
So you say in your op-ed that it's long past time that we learn the cost of transitioning. It's not advertised, kind of the cost reward that you are pushed into transitioning. There's a lot of cheerleading if you want to transition, not a lot of cheerleading on the reverse. What do you want people to know about the cost of transitioning?
Well, the cost might not be upfront for most people who, when they do this. The cost is actually going to be long-term with your health, your body, because your body cannot handle the drugs that we are prescribing. Little kids are getting puberty blockers, estrogen if it's a young boy, testosterone if it's a young girl, and well, their bodies are never going to recover. So the cost is the rest of your life and your health.
What kind of health complications are you having?
So for me, I have atrophy of my genitals. And I still don't know all the side effects, but the left half of my body shakes on its own. I've been told it might be MS, but I have yet to get it checked out just due to my history with doctors now, so I'm kind of a little skeptical of seeing them.
I'm sorry that you are having those. I mean, now that you've come out, you've been very vocal. You played you at the school board. You've come out with this op-ed. What has the response been to you detransitioning?
I've been getting a lot of support from concerned parents, other detransitioners, and anyone who knows the truth on this. And those who are in support of me when I was transitioning, they don't like me. They hate everyone who detransitions. And, well, we get our names dragged through the mud by activists, by medical professionals, I wouldn't be surprised if the government started going after us.
What is next for you, Abel?
I'm just going to continue to speak out, tell the world about the harm caused to me, to the 2 young ladies that were at the school board meeting, and anyone who's been affected by this.
Abel Garcia, I appreciate you sharing your story tonight with our viewers. Thank you for being outspoken. I know it takes a lot of bravery to do so, and thank you for being with us this evening.
Thank you.